So on average, a consumer is going to, throughout their evaluation process, have 7 hours of active or passive evaluation where they're getting some kind of information to help them make the decision as to whether or not they're going to respond or how they're going to respond across 11 separate touch points. So a short video here, an ad here, a couple emails here, et cetera, across 4 separate channels. And when you understand that this is what people are going through in order to make a decision about whether or not they even want to raise their hand and say, I want to have a discovery call with you, or I want to go actually into the active buying process where maybe I'm coming in or I'm scheduling a deeper appointment than the discovery call with a member of your team. This is what you have to create your marketing for, because this is the new reality that consumers are going through this process in making their buying decision. Welcome to Daily Discovery Calls for Financial Advisors, the first and only show dedicated exclusively to helping entrepreneurial, growth-driven financial advisors book more discovery calls with qualified prospects every day of the week. I'm your host, Roy Furr, the TheAdvisorCMO. Let's get into it. All right, we are back with episode 2 of Daily Discovery Calls for Financial Advisors, the only show, the only podcast dedicated to helping you get discovery calls every day with your ideal clients as a financial advisor. And in the last episode, I shared my origin story, how I got to this point where I'm launching the TheAdvisorCMO, where I'm launching this podcast, and where I'm directly helping financial advisors put new discovery calls on their calendar every single day with their ideal clients. In that last episode, I shared my story. I talked about me. Of course, I tried to make it presented in a way where you would get value out of it as well. Today, we're going to shift. I'm not going to talk about me. I'm actually not going to talk about you. I'm going to talk about your market. And I'm going to talk about how we make buying decisions as human beings and how that's fundamentally changed, and where financial advisors, among other marketers, but financial advisors are in a position where you can now adapt or die. You can create your marketing, your communications, your advertising in a way that works within this new reality and succeeds, or doesn't work within this new reality and struggles. And so diving in this episode, I'm going to share first what Google discovered in stalking your every move online, my every move online, all of our every moves online. I'm going to share the new reality that's been identified that we are facing for marketing and sales. And I'm going to talk to you about how you can build your marketing to convert today's buyer. Now, first, I want to share an eternal truth about marketing. This eternal truth is that the offer you make will drive response. I've seen it over and over again. A better offer. Actually, one of my heroes that I'll probably continue to quote on here is Gary Bensavinga. And he said, a gifted offer is mightier than a gifted pen. And I think he was quoting maybe Rosser Reeves with that, a famous advertiser, actually one of the quintessential madmen. A gifted offer is mightier than a gifted pen. What that's saying is that if you have an offer that is incredibly compelling, that is more powerful in getting your ideal client to respond than if you just say good things about yourself and what it is that you do. Now, don't just take it from me. Alex Hormozi, whose first book, $100 million Offers, was huge. It put him on the map in terms of sharing business growth information. The subtitle of that, by the way, is great. How to Make Offers So Good People Feel Stupid Saying No. In that book, he said, no offer, no business, no life. Bad offer, negative profit, no business, miserable life. Decent offer, no profit, stagnating business, stagnating life. Good offer, some profit, okay business, okay life. Grand slam offer, fantastic profit, insane business, freedom. And actually 3 years before that book, I introduced the productized discovery call to financial advisors, which is approaching how you offer discovery calls in a way that feels more like a compelling product that somebody wants to get, that they can actually get for free, right? Uh, Hormozy calls this a micro offer, just a small offer designed to get prospects on the phone. And I introduced that offer in 2018. It changed the game for the advisors that followed my model. And it's a large part of what drove thousands of leads and over $2 billion in production last year. And if you want to learn how these offers work, how the desirable discovery calls offers work, you can go to theadvisorcmo.com/discovery. So let's go back to how we make buying decisions and how that's fundamentally changed and what we need to do. Like I said, I was going to start with Google. Google at one point admitted and then took down the admission off the internet that they had 70 million data points on every user. And the number's probably grown at this point. Now, in those 70 million data points, in analyzing that, in having data scientists and artificial intelligence algorithms crunching what those 70 million data points mean, not just how people browse on the internet, but Google Analytics tracks purchase behavior as you go to different sites, as you stick on one page longer than another. They understand how we behave. And they did an analysis of all of this, and they said that the internet has changed how we make buying decisions. Fundamentally, the internet shifted how we make buying decisions. And I'm going to share the old way and I'm going to share the new way here. And by the way, if you're listening to the podcast, great. I love having you as a listener. And I do have some visuals that I'll occasionally share, including right now. And I want to let you know that there are video editions of this podcast on YouTube if you search for The Advisor CMO on YouTube. So the old way that we would make buying decisions was largely in alignment with B.F. Skinner's behavioral conditioning model. And we see a stimulus. We see a stimulus of something that looks appealing to us. And then we respond. And then we get the reward, right? And so in the case of advertising, the stimulus might be some ad that we see maybe in the newspaper, makes us pick up the phone and call the number in there. Or maybe we heard it on radio, we heard a radio commercial, or we heard a radio show, and then we pick up the phone, we respond, and then we go through the process of becoming a client. Now, obviously, this isn't a comprehensive representation, but generally in the past, there wasn't a lot of gap between, especially the stimulus of having that initial exposure to a brand and entering the active buying cycle. We may have seen an ad a few times, but a lot of good direct response advertisers from that era would tell you that if you're not able to make the first run of an advertisement profitable, all those impressions that the media salespeople try to push on you, that they say it takes 26 impressions of an ad to get someone to buy, that's just because your ad wasn't good enough. It wasn't a strong enough stimulus to get someone to enter that buying process and to get the reward. The mutual reward of they become a client and you get the benefit of the client relationship and they get the benefit of your services. So that was the old way. Well, the internet broke it. The internet broke the old way of making buying decisions. And the new way, new visual here, there's a couple extra steps that have been inserted here. So there's an initial stimulus. Somebody finds your ad, they find your content, they find out about you somehow. They get a direct mail piece from you, maybe announcing a dinner seminar. Whatever it is, there's that initial stimulus event that has them start to pay attention. And that stimulus event might not even come from you. And maybe they're getting to an age where they decide they have to file for Social Security and they need to figure out when they're going to do that. And they're needing to figure out all their different retirement finances, or they're approaching retirement generally. And so there's this stimulus of, okay, I need to make a decision here. And then before they ever get to the becoming a client process, the active buying process of response, there is now an evaluation step that's been inserted. now that we have like all of the world's information in the palm of our hand that we shove in our pocket, throughout the day, and then we can just pull out at any time. If we are presented with a new idea, we have to make our own, we have to come to our own conclusions about that idea, and we have to evaluate the information that's out there. And there may be an active part of that evaluation process where we are searching out information, where we're going and downloading something that was presented or offered a video or subscribing to a podcast, like this one, or whatever it is, we start to get into this evaluation process. And in this evaluation process, we're just taking in, we're maybe comparing one solution with another. We're thinking about, will it work for us to do it ourselves? Will it work for us to go with like a simple option that's less expensive? Do we have to go with a more expensive option? And so we're evaluating the different options. And I'll talk to you in a moment about what that evaluation process looks like. But then once we've completed this evaluation step, which Google actually calls the 0 moment of truth. It's the response step is the first moment of truth. And so Google added this 0 moment of truth, saying, before we can get to that point where we actually proactively reach out and say, schedule a discovery call with a financial advisor, we want to feel like we've made a comprehensive evaluation of that particular potential option. And then we respond. And then we may have the reward of becoming a client. And then there's one more step that's added here, that we actually create feedback that other people are going to use in their evaluation process. So we may post a review online. We may share a YouTube video where we talk about our experience with something. We may talk to friends. We may, do some other kind of feedback that we're putting into the marketplace that other people are now using in their evaluation step, right? And so this new way is that as consumers, how we make buying decisions is no longer just, okay, we see an ad, we respond to that ad, and we become a client. It is, we see an ad, we say, okay, that's an interesting idea. And as I maybe click through to that ad, Google and Facebook and other big networks say, okay, this person's more interested in retirement taxes. Okay, Amazon sees that we're suddenly browsing books by authors about maybe a tax-free retirement or something like that. And so the different content networks and the different ad networks start serving us with not just ways that we can actively evaluate potential options, but ways that we can passively evaluate different potential options. And so the passive evaluation is, okay, suddenly I'm on Google News and there's an article coming out about saving money on retirement taxes. Or suddenly I'm on Facebook and there are different ads from different advertisers about saving money on retirement taxes. Or maybe as part of the evaluation step, I requested some information from a particular financial advisor, and that financial advisor is now giving me more information that I can use in my evaluation process, and that is building familiarity with them such that I associate the idea of making a good decision with the information that they gave me, and I'm more likely to respond. Okay, I hope you're getting something out of that. I hope you're paying attention, because we're talking about this new way that we make buying decisions. We're also talking about things that you can do to help drive response. Now, I'm not sure if this specific language, the specific name for it came from Google or it came from somebody else who was interpreting the research that Google put out. But there's this rule that somebody came up with. They call it the 7-11-4 rule, or Google 7-11-4 rule. And it's today's new reality for getting clients. And what this says is that as part of that evaluation process, these numbers do come from Google. As part of that evaluation process, on average, for someone to make a buying decision, there's going to be 7 hours of evaluation before they actually go through with before they actually move into that active buying process. And so that's 7 hours. Well, let me actually cover what the 11 and 4 are first. So there's the 7 hours. There are 11 separate touch points. And so it's not just the amount of time. It's not a 7-hour class that somebody sits through, although potentially, I suppose, a 7-hour class may actually drive a buying decision. But on average, there are 11 separate touch points. So 11 videos that they watch, 11 podcast episodes that they listen to, 11 ads that they engage with, that they click on, 11 articles that they read, 11 different touch points, 11 emails that they get. That 11 number can include conversations across 4 separate channels. So I'm explaining different channels here: podcast, video, advertisements, an actual discovery call can maybe be included here. Those types of conversations, coming to a seminar event, a dinner event, may be included here, right? So 7 hours across 11 touch points in 4 separate channels. And I say channels, but it can also include some kind of live interaction, right? But if we count maybe email plus a video presentation, plus an ad that I saw in public, plus having a conversation with somebody, well, suddenly we have at least 4 channels there. So on average, a consumer is going to, throughout their evaluation process, have 7 hours of active or passive evaluation where they're getting some kind of information to help them make the decision as to whether or not they're going to respond or how they're going to respond across 11 separate touch points. So a short video here, an ad here, a couple emails here, et cetera, across 4 separate channels. And when you understand that this is what people are going through in order to make a decision about whether or not they even want to raise their hand and say, I want to have a discovery call with you, or I want to go actually into the active buying process where maybe I'm coming in or I'm scheduling a deeper appointment than the discovery call with a member of your team. This is what you have to create your marketing for, because this is the new reality that consumers are going through this process in making their buying decision. And if you don't enable this, if you don't create marketing advertising, especially, you'll hear me say phrases like education-based marketing, where you're actually going out there and you are providing not just broad education and not education about how they can do it themselves, but education to help them understand the problem, the challenge that they face, and how they can pick a solution. If you're not going out there and you're not creating marketing that helps them go through this buying decision-making process, if you're not creating systems in your business that support this, if you're not feeding these 7 hours across 11 touch points across 4 channels, you're going to be losing potential clients who maybe were interested in you enough to start the evaluation process, but then don't get enough from you in order to move into that active response process with you, where maybe they got some of the initial information from you, but then they're actively looking around, for example, tax planning for their retirement accounts. And suddenly, even though you're the person that got them interested, even though your firm is the first one that introduced them to the idea that they could end up paying more taxes than they have to on their retirement savings, somebody else who does a better job of serving their evaluation process in the context of the 7-11-4 rule is the firm who is going to actually end up converting them as a client. So what kind of financial advisor marketing wins today? I've kind of already been giving this away, but I will say, tied to this, I saw a stat, and I want to share this before I dive in. Tied to this, I saw a stat that it takes 3.6 months for marketing leads to become clients versus 1.7 months for referrals. And a huge reason for that is because a lot of that evaluation process right now is about who can I trust? What can I trust? What response is the response that I can trust is going to be the right decision, right? And if you are referred to somebody by someone who you know, you like, you trust, and you're referred to that provider, your evaluation process might not need to be as deep or as thorough. And so you're more likely to convert quickly versus the 3.6 months. And these are financial advisor stats, the 3.6 months versus 1.7 months. I think it might have been from Michael Kitces, but I couldn't find the source when I went back and looked for it. I had just taken a quick note. But the 3.6 months is reflects the fact that it takes longer for somebody to build that trust and go through that evaluation process. And it's typically going to be spread out. So the financial advisor marketing that wins today is the marketing that actually closes the trust gap faster by helping people make that evaluation process faster. And it's definitely not one-shot advertising that used to work in the future. Like, I'm going to run a radio ad, I'm going to run a TV ad, and I'm going to get someone to respond to that and come in. And yes, it can still work. It can still work. I will say, I'm speaking in absolutes here, but there are people who are maybe already into that evaluation process when they have already gotten to a certain point in that evaluation process through active or passive research. Like if I'm reading articles all the time about investing and retirement planning, and then suddenly somebody says the right thing at the right time where it's like, this person can help me solve my tax planning issues associated with my retirement account. And so I want to go in and talk to them, right? It can happen where you put a stimulus out there, you get the response, and both of you get the reward of them becoming a client. But as a general rule, what Google's research said is that model, relying on that model as the way, that's dead. That's dead. That you need to foster the evaluation process. You can't do this one-shot advertising. And so you need to foster the evaluation process, and that will accelerate the conversion process, maybe bring those 3.6 months for marketing leads becoming clients down to something closer to 1.7 months or even faster by doing a really good job of making someone feel as if they've gone through, like making them feel this way because you legitimately do it, but making them feel as if they've gone through the full evaluation process and they can feel comfortable making a decision that they trust to actually respond and do business with you. And so you're going to accelerate that conversion process by paying attention to, by building your marketing around Google's 7-11-4 rule, using education-based marketing that's designed to help them not just understand their problem and the solutions available, but that's also designed to build that. You're familiar probably with KLT, know, like, and trust. And a friend and colleague of mine from the marketing world, Daniel Throssell, added revere. You want them to know you, to like you, to trust you, and even to revere you as an authoritative source of information on this particular topic, right? So if it's tax planning around their retirement account, you want them to know that you have a good solution. They need to like how you present yourself and your solution. They need to trust that your solution is going to get them the type of result that it's designed to get them. And you want them to revere you as an authoritative expert and source of information and guidance and expertise on this particular result that you are trying to help them achieve, that you're building your services to help them achieve, right? And even better, if you can package all of that up inside a system that attracts those clients, that nurtures them through that evaluation process, and that converts them as soon as they're ready to raise their hand. So you're going to have some coming in who are immediately ready to raise their hand and say, I am interested in doing business with you. I am interested in becoming a client, because they've already been doing all that evaluation and they come to you at just the right time. And you're going to have others who are going to need more contact with you through more time before they are comfortable moving forward into the response process, out of the evaluation process. It doesn't mean they won't, for example, give you their email information in order to get something valuable from you. They're just not going to be as ready to, for example, book that discovery call with you. Now, we'll talk more about that system to attract, nurture, and convert ideal clients in the next episode. If you want to be booking more discovery calls daily, you're definitely going to want to pay attention to that one. So let me wrap up here. Let me wrap up this episode. Don't forget to subscribe. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm at Roy Furr there, or you can search for TheAdvisorCMO because that's me. And if you want to have a better offer for your discovery calls that attracts your ideal clients, that makes them eager to book a discovery call with you, that makes them want to raise their hand, reach out and say, talk to me, tell me what you can do, I have a free 12-minute training that you can go to TheAdvisorCMO.com/discovery, and you can request that there. You can watch the whole thing, no cost, no obligation. It just shares the innovation that I introduced there and some specific tips so that you can use it to get more and better discovery calls with your ideal clients. And, frankly, that's something that you can implement pretty much immediately, and it could completely change the game. Make it so you're putting more discovery calls on your calendar as soon as you put it out into the marketplace. So I'm Roy Furr, the Advisor CMO. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you again in the next episode. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Daily Discovery Calls for Financial Advisors. If you got value from this episode, I'd absolutely love it if you do me the favor of sharing it with one other person who you think would also find it valuable. It's how the show can grow and how I can keep bringing this value to you. And if you want to learn more about how you can book more discovery calls with your ideal clients, go to TheAdvisorCMO.com/podcast.